While bracket notation works for changing values within an array, JavaScript provides specialized methods for adding and removing items from the front or from the end of an array. We're going to talk about 4 of those methods. The first ones are push and pop. Push is a method that will add an element to the end of an array. So let's take our supply list and call the push method and pass in the value that we want to add. In this case, oxygen. Let's log it. And we see an array that now has water, food, and oxygen. What if we wanted to remove something from the end? We can call the pop method on the end of supply list and now see that it's been removed. However, the pop method actually does a lot more than that. It provides us with that element. So if we needed the element off of the end while we were removing it, we could actually store it in a variable. So let's say let removed item. And then we'll call pop on the supply list array, but it's going to give us that value back and we can store it here. Then we can actually log it in a sentence if we wanted to, for example. So let me create a little template literal here. We can say removed oxygen, and then we see it without oxygen. Then there are 2 methods that will allow you to add or remove elements from the beginning of the array. The first one is called Unshift, and you might think this is a little bit backwards, but we're going to talk about adding something before we remove it. So let's do Unshift first. I could go to supply list, call Unshift, and pass in fuel, and then log the entire list so that we can see that fuel has been added to the front of the array. It's the very first element now. Similarly, if we wanted to remove it, we could do that. I'm going to do like I did before and actually store that value in a variable. Then we'll log a little sentence to let someone know that it's been removed. And then log the list so that we can see the final result. Okay, and we see that fuel was there, then we removed it, and now the array just contains water and food again. So shift and unshift are for the front, push and pop are for the end. Those are 4 that you might find yourself using quite often as you learn to manipulate arrays. I'm going to go ahead and make my quick commit here, as you should always do. All right, for your practice, you're going to use these different arrays and practice using the correct methods to make changes to them. That's it for this one. We'll talk about more methods in the next one.